presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
It's a Wednesday afternoon in downtown Phoenix, set for some matinee baseball here at Chase Field. Diamondbacks looking for a win in this series finale against Bryce Harper and first place Washington. Hello, it's the D-backs and the Nationals on Fox Sports Arizona. You never know what's going to turn up here. Phil the Iron Horse Malika in the truck. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to Chase Field. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way. It's Zack Godley on the mound for the Diamondbacks against former D-back Max Scherzer. And against Scherzer, Bob, the Diamondbacks looking for Yasmani Tomas to continue slugging away.
Yeah, there haven't been a lot of highlights offensively for the Diamondbacks recently, but Yasmani Tomas has been a shining star over his last 14 games. He's hitting nearly 400, 11 extra base hits. He's driven in 11 runs, scored 10, so he's been right in the middle of everything good.
Another home run last night. Base hits might be hard to come by, though, against this guy, Max Scherzer.
Yeah, and it's scary to think that he might be extra motivated since he was an original Diamondback that got traded. This guy is one of the best in the game right now, an aggressive bulldog on the mound that wants to strike out every opposing hitter.
The Marlins' Jose Fernandez, the only pitcher in baseball with more strikeouts than Max Scherzer. As we get set to start this one, Zack Godley and Scherzer, the D-backs and the Nationals. First pitch coming up. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Lone Butte Casino. Get in on big wins. By Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. And by Gigablast, 100 times more powerful internet from Cox. Bring on tomorrow. Final matinee game of the season at Chase Field. It's a Wednesday afternoon. The Diamondbacks and the Washington Nationals. Zack Godley against Max Scherzer. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Welcome to Phoenix, Arizona. Downtown Phoenix inside Chase Field. The series finale, the Diamondbacks and the Washington Nationals. Dusty Baker's ball club, the second most wins in the major leagues behind only the Cubs. They have a 6-game lead over Miami atop the National League East. The Marlins in action right now. They lead at Wrigley Field 1-0, so the Nationals will be keeping an eye on that ball game. And here's the lineup for Dusty's ball club here as they go for the 3-game sweep.
Offense has been rolling in the first 2 games. I'll lead it off with Trey Turner out in center field. Ben Revere in the lineup in left field today, with Bryce Harper back in the lineup in right field. Daniel Murphy's been red hot. He'll be playing first base. Anthony Rendon over at third. Danny Espinosa at short. Wilmer Defoe at second base. What's Severino's first name?
The catcher?
Yeah.
That would be Pedro Severino.
Pedro Severino. I apologize to Pedro Severino's family. And on the mound, Max Scherzer.
Well, the Diamondbacks trying to figure out what's been wrong lately. They've been outscored 38-8 in their last 3 games. And the struggles to win at home have continued. Now 20 games under 500 at Chase Field in 2016. But your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the guy who's going to try and get all that turned around here today, will be Zack Godley, and here he comes.
Threw a few extra warm-up pitches down in that left field bullpen before making his way into the dugout, and just now heading out to the mound.
His 10th appearance of the year, his 6th start. He is 3-1 with a 5.63 ERA.
Coming off a no decision in a 9-7 loss against the Dodgers last time out. Surrendered only 4 base hits in 6 innings of work. Struck out 4, walked a couple of batters. I tell you, he has done a nice job battling out there on the mound. He hasn't always been dominating. His stuff hasn't always been great, but you know he's going to give you everything he's got every time he's out there on the mound. A real bulldog.
He definitely gives them a chance to win, Bob, every time he goes out there. So let's take a look now at the defense around him for the D-backs. Our Eye on Defense brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
David Peralta back out in right field this afternoon. Michael Bourne in center field. Yasmani Tomas in left. It'll be Lamb and Owings on the left side of the infield. Gene Segura getting a rare day off at second base. Brandon Drury will take his place. Paul Goldschmidt over at first. Tuffy Gosowich doing the catching for right-hander Zack Godley.
Mark Rippiger is our plate umpire this afternoon. He'll have the balls and strikes. The Cowboy, Joe West, is at first base. He's the crew chief. Kerwin Danley at second. And the third base umpire today is Andy Fletcher. And before we get underway, it's time for Bob Brenly's Valley Honda Dealers Key to the Game.
Well, attention to detail. I mean, it's been a struggle offensively. It's been a struggle on the mound for the Diamondbacks recently. But if you try to do things right, more often than not, you're going to find out whether you can have success in this game or not. Move the runners up. Take the extra base when you're supposed to. Hit the cutoff man. Back up bases. All those fundamentals of the game occasionally take a back seat when you're in a tough losing streak like the Diamondbacks are in right now. So a lot of attention to detail today.
D-backs have lost 24 of their last 31, trying to salvage this series finale. Trey Turner leads it off, and we're underway on a Wednesday afternoon in downtown Phoenix. It's a foul right behind Bob Henley at third. Turner .324 in 18 games this year. He has 4 hits in the series, including a triple on Monday. He scored 3 runs and knocked in 3. A roller to shortstop for Chris Owings. Good start for Zack Godley, one away.
Always a good sign when you see the ball on the ground when Zack Godley's pitching. A lot of late movement in that hitting zone. Get that ball off the barrel of the bat.
Left fielder, number 9.
First start in this series for Ben Revere. He has slumped this year. 209 and 2 homers. Checked in the 9th as a defensive replacement last night. Went 0 for 2 on Monday. That sinker missed, and it's 1-0. Revere is not hitting much at all lately. Batting .130 over his last 18 games. He's lost a lot of playing time now that Trey Turner is up for the minor leagues. One and 2. Looked like the cutter that time from Zack Godley. He's got 3 fastballs, the 4-seam, the 2-seam sinker, and that cut fastball. And the curveballs look pretty good, Zach's last few starts as well. Tapper back to Owings. Got to hurry to get Revere. 2 ground ball outs for Godley. That'll bring up Bryce Harper.
You notice Dusty Baker has 5 left-handed bats in the starting lineup today. 3 lefties and 2 switch hitters, but the splits would say Zack Godley actually pitches better against left-handers.
D-backs will put the shift on for Harper, who is slumping this year, batting only .235. He's got 20 home runs.
Yeah, right-handed batters have hit .304 this season against Godley. Lefties only .240.
Harper was scratched from the starting lineup last night. Dusty Baker said he was real sick. He, in fact, had to get some IVs last night, Bryce Harper, but back in there today. Singled and walked in the opener Monday night. He scored 3 times. 1-1. Harper, despite the slump, will be patient up there. He's leading the major leagues in bases on balls. Rocket, that's a fair ball down the right field line. And Michael Ransom, our Golden Glover down there, hit the ball while it was in play, and Harper's at second.
Right on the chalk. Hooking line drive off the bat of Bryce Harper. Trying to root it foul, but boy, you can see he really rolled over that ball right off the chalk. That's just self-defense down there.
Daniel Murphy leading the league in hitting at .356. Missed away, and it's 1-0. Murphy's got 20 home runs. 5 hits and 3 RBIs in the series. He scored 4 runs in the first 2 games. Godley behind 2-0. Murphy leading the National League in hitting, in hits, in doubles, slugging percentage, OPS, and total bases.
We talked about Murphy in the first 2 games of this series, a guy that really grinds out every at bat, doesn't give away a pitch, let alone an at bat. In the first inning of ball games this year, he's 22 for 49. 9 extra base hits. He's driven in 23 runs in the first inning.
Godley behind 3-0. Murphy walked and scored in the first inning Monday. And an RBI ground out in the first inning last night.
I'm just going to go ahead and put him on. You have a base open down there. Very dangerous hitter here under any circumstances. Go after the right-hander Rendon.
So here is Anthony Rendon. 4 hits and 4 RBIs in the series. He's doubled twice.
Number 6, Anthony Rendon.
265 and 13 home runs. Nationals have been tough to put away in this series so far. 12 of their 24 runs in the first 2 games came with 2 outs, including 8 of 10 last night.
Boy, the Nationals have really cashed in their opportunities in the first 2 games. They're 15 for 33 with runners in scoring position in this series so far. 2 games plus an inning.
That pitch missed inside, and it's 1-0. Washington 14 runs on 19 hits Monday, 10 runs on 15 hits last night. Wilson Ramos having some fun with Gio Gonzalez. A day off behind the plate for Ramos.
Very nice.
There's the strike. Change up in there, and it's 1-1.
I will occasionally misidentify that as a curveball because it has so much downward movement.
Doubled up with that pitch, and he's got strike 2.
This change up again, I think. That one seemed to move away from Rendon, the right-handed hitter, a little bit, where the pitch before seemed to move in.
Sure looked like a curveball. As Chip Hale has said, everything Zach Godley throws moves a lot. That's why he sometimes gets in trouble with his command. Two and 2 on Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, make it happen right here. We talk about it all the time. 2-out situations. You don't want to go to a full count on the hitter. That gives the runners a little bit of an extra head start on that 3-2 pitch.
That seemed to be much more closer to a changeup than the curveballs we saw previously. Bat tapper to second base. Brandon Drury's there, and Zach Godley strands 2. Diamondbacks coming up against Max Scherzer. Ford starter for the Nationals, just turned 32 years old last week. 11 wins in 22 starts, a 2.85 ERA. That's 10th best in the National League. He is second in the league in strikeouts and actually striking out more batters per 9 innings than ever before in his career.
Not only Jose Fernandez of the Marlins striking out more batters per 9 inning than Max Scherzer. I mean, this guy is littered all over the leader list in every important pitcher category. He does surrender some home runs now. 22 bombs on the year. That's just because he refuses to go out of the zone. He's going to attack every hitter in this Diamondbacks lineup.
Yeah, no pitcher in the National League has given up more home runs this year than Max Scherzer. Michael Bourn leads it off. Michael hitting .255 with 2 home runs. Bourn ahead 3-0. Mentioned those home run issues for Scherzer. Most of those came earlier in the year. He has given up only 2 home runs in his last 6 starts. 3-0 is in there for a strike. And he's working quickly as well. Very brisk pace to Max Scherzer. A leadoff walk for Michael Bourn. The lineup for Chip Hale's Diamondbacks this afternoon.
Michael Bourn making his way down to first base after that leadoff walk. Will be out in center field. Chris Owings at short. Jake Lamb at third base batting third. Paul Goldschmidt moves down into the cleanup spot playing first base. David Peralta out in right field. The red hot Yasmani Tomas in left field. Brandon Drury at second base. Tuffy Gosewich doing the catching. And Zach Godley on the mound.
CO in the 2-hole today, batting .269 with 2 homers and swinging the bat very well right now. Bourn 8 for 11 in his stolen base attempts. And there's strike 1. Chris has 3 hits in this series. He doubled in last night's ball game. He's now hit safely in 5 straight. Oh, and 2. And slider for Max Scherzer.
He basically pitches off a fastball slider combination. He'll throw an occasional curveball, an occasional changeup, but for the most part, he hasn't needed a lot of third and fourth pitches this year.
Severino can't hang on, and Owings stays alive. Max Scherzer, originally drafted by the Diamondbacks, an 11th overall pick in the '06 draft out of the University of Missouri. He's got his first strikeout today. 1 down. Our eye on defense for the Nationals. Bryce Harper back out there. It's brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
Bryce Harper out in right field. Trey Turner in center. Ben Revere in left field today. It'll be Rendon and Espinosa on the left side of the infield with Defoe and Murphy on the right side. Mr. and Mrs. Severino's favorite baby boy Pedro behind the plate for right-hander Max Scherzer.
Well, no Gene Segura in the lineup today. He's got the well-deserved day off, so a different look. Jake Lamb in the 3-hole and Goldie batting cleanup. This is in the air, very shallow left field. Ben Revere coming in, long run, but he's got it. And there are 2 down for Goldie. Max Scherzer has struggled somewhat this year in the first inning. His first inning ERA this season is 4.91. After that, it's 2.49. So you can get to him, but it's got to be early.
Like a lot of the best pitchers in the game, occasionally you can catch them early before they settle in out there on the mound and get comfortable. Better take advantage of every opportunity you get against this cat.
Michael Bourn at first, 2 outs for Goldie. Starts him off with a slider, but it missed it. It's 1-0.
Scherzer a little bit similar to Curt Schilling in that he doesn't like to pitch inside. You'll watch him. He works away. Occasionally he'll come inside when he's ahead in a 2-strike count just to push a hitter off the plate, but he wants to get his outs away from hitters.
That's where Severino sets up again. It's below the knees, and it's 2-0. Goldie coming off a 3 for 5 last night. He's 3 for 8 in the series.
You've seen the NHL All-Star Skills Competition where they put the plates like in the corner of the goal and guys have to knock each plate out. Curt Schilling would have worn out that low left plate. He used to throw that ball at the knees on the outside corner to right-handed hitters over and over and over again.
There's that spot. Slider that time, and it's 2-2.
I mean, if you look at the hot and cold charts of every hitter in Major League Baseball, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that really handles that ball at the knees on the outside corner very well. That's a weak spot for everybody.
Well, if you can hit that with a fastball time and time again, then you start throwing sliders and changeups down there, and you'll really get some swings and misses. Fastball missed off the edge, and the count is full, 3-2. David Peralta on deck. Bourn at first. He'll be off for the pitch. There you can see it's a weak spot even for Goldie at 194. Murphy will play behind the runner at first. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Michael Bourn takes off for second. Goldie drives it to center field. Trey Turner backing up. He's on the warning track, and he's got it for the final out. Diamondbacks, the Nationals, no score at Chase Field.
the second with the Bulldog on the mound. Now, Tuffy Gosewich told me he likes the chances for the team anytime Zack Godley gets the nod. But he said on a day like today, the young righties' aggressive approach might be just what the Diamondbacks need to fire them up and get them back on the right track. Godley is known for that fearless attack he has, going after hitters, not afraid of contact. And Chip said, and Bob, you'll appreciate this, he thinks the key to success today will be to watch Tuffy. He doesn't want to see a lot of movement out of that glove because that means Zack has his emotions in check and is hitting his spots.
Danny Espinosa leads it off. That's foul.
That's a good point. That's a way to judge if a pitcher's hitting his spots or not. If you see the catcher diving all over the place back there, blocking pitches in the dirt, leaping up out of his crouch to catch high deliveries, maybe Zack's not on his game. But if Tuffy's sitting still back there behind the plate and Godley's coming close to that mitt, that's a great sign for any pitcher.
Oh, he's ahead of Espinosa 0-2. The shift is on for the Diamondbacks against the National shortstop. Popped it up away from the shift. Chris Owings has it. Well, here's a player that's looked very good in this series. Wilmer Defoe playing second base today. He's only played 4 games for Washington all year long, but he's 5 for 10 in the big leagues this season. And a 2-run double and scored a run Monday, then a 3-hit night last night. Had an RBI, stole the base.
Yeah, Mike Rizzo, the general manager of the Nationals, stopped in the booth this morning and mentioned with Defoe and Trey Turner now available on the roster, gives them that added dimension of speed. We were talking about that last night.
And it's at the top and the bottom of the order, too. You can have one or the other. In this series, it's been mostly both, but Defoe is just 24 years old, has looked good. Nationals still missing Stephen Drews on the DL with some vertigo issues, and Defoe has had an opportunity. He's up from their Double-A team in Harrisburg. Played about 100 games in Double-A this year. Hit .255 with 5 homers. And stole 26 bases. See Tuffy patting that glove on the ground. Keep that big curveball down. And that's just what he did.
Nice rhythm for Zack in the early going. You see that index finger spiked up on the baseball so he can really pull down with that middle finger on that curveball, get that 12-6 break he's looking for.
Well, here's your boy Pedro Severino. You catchers always stick together. 1 for 5 at the plate this year. He's played in only 2 games. But this is a very highly regarded defensive catching prospect. The Nationals' best catcher really in their system. Very smooth behind the plate. He's got a good arm. And we are told a very good feel for pitch calling, but the bat hasn't shown up a whole lot. He's a .240 career hitter in the minor leagues.
Well, with Wilson Ramos doing the bulk of the catching, Severino's not going to get a lot of opportunities to go behind the plate and get 4 or 5 at bats in a game. Got the second best hitter in the National League behind the plate. You're going to be doing a lot of watching and a lot of warming up in the bullpen.
Now Ramos has had a good series and a 3-run homer last night. He's got 5 hits and 5 RBIs, but day game after night game, Severino gets a start, his 3rd this year. Broken bat grounder. Chris Owings has it near the bag. Another ground ball out for Zack Godley, who sprints off the mound with a 1-2-3 second.
half of the second inning. Max Scherzer, we mentioned, basically a fastball slider pitcher. This is the fastball. Look at the low arm angle. Gets a lot of tailing action away from the left-handed hitters into the righties. The slider, just the opposite. Gets around the outside of the ball, makes it move away from the right-handed hitters. And this is the changeup, the circle change, but because of the low arm angle and the low wrist angle, that almost looks like a screwball, really diving down and away from the left-handed hitter.
And here is a lefty. David Peralta leads off the Diamondbacks second against Max Scherzer. Scherzer stranded a leadoff walk in the first, and there's strike one to Peralta. 247 and 4 homers for David. 1 for 8 in the series, had a single Monday night. And he's down 0-2. Hear about the changeup. Some guys have a Vulcan changeup. You mentioned the circle changeup for Max Scherzer. Is that just the grip?
Yeah, we've talked about the circle change in the past. Basically, you take your regular fastball grip, whatever that happens to be, and you slide your middle finger and your ring finger up on the baseball and make a circle with your index finger and your thumb, like you're signaling okay.
Ooh. We got Peralta all twisted up there. Second strikeout for Scherzer.
Very basically, if that's your two-seam fastball grip with your index and your middle finger, you just slide these two fingers over on the seams and make a circle right here with your index finger and your thumb. Now, what separates Max Scherzer's changeup is most pitchers, because their arm angle is high and their wrist angle is high, their hand is behind the baseball. Scherzer has that low wrist angle, low arm angle, so he's coming across the baseball and really gets that fading action.
As Manny Tomas drives this one deep to right field, but Bryce Harper has it just shy of the warning track. That's allowed out number 2 in the second. 5 in a row set down by Scherzer. Here's Brandon Drury.
It's really interesting to listen to good pitchers talk about their arsenal and their grips on certain pitches, and they're constantly tinkering with different things to find a different feel, or maybe their slider is flattened out a little bit. So they'll talk to the other starting pitchers, how you hold your slider, where's your thumb. I mean, sometimes it's a matter of just moving a finger or a thumb a couple of stitches on the baseball, and that changes the entire pitch. These guys really are artists. The best are artists out there on the mound.
Yeah, this guy is one of the best, no doubt about that. That one got away from him, and it's 1-1. Drury hitting .261. He's got 9 homers. Singled and scored a run last night. 1 for 4 in the series. Max Scherzer has been an all-star each of the last 4 years. 2 in Detroit, now 2 with the Nationals. Won the American League Cy Young 3 seasons ago. He's finished in the top 5 in the Cy Young voting each of the last 3 years. Got a lot of money from the Nationals to reunite with GM Mike Rizzo, who was here with the Diamondbacks when the D-backs drafted Scherzer back in '06. The 11th overall pick that year. Called strike 3. Dots the fastball at 96. He's got 3 strikeouts. No score. D-backs and the Nats. Ballpark, no score, the D-backs and the Nationals. Hey, D-backs fans, introducing Pepsi Moji. Every time you grab an ice-cold Pepsi 20-ounce bottle this summer, you'll find a Pepsi Moji on the side of the bottle. And there are hundreds of different designs, so show the world how you feel and what you love with Pepsi Moji using hashtag Say It With Pepsi. Max Scherzer leads off the Washington third against Zack Godley. Zack has retired 4 in a row. Brandon Drury at second base from the outfield grass, and there's one away. We've seen Brandon a lot lately in the infield, more so than the outfield, now that David Peralta's back, and he's looked very good at both at third base and second.
Yeah, he really has handled himself well, shown a really good ability to throw on the move.
Trey Turner grounded out his first time up. Zack Godley first time through the order, just one hit, a Bryce Harper double. That one missed away, and it's 1-0 on Turner. Trey Turner, very promising young player, just 23 years old. Turner was the 13th overall pick in the draft only 2 years ago by San Diego. Nationals got him in a big 3-team deal that involved Tampa Bay, the same trade that sent Will Myers to San Diego. Washington ended up with Trey Turner, who has played some second base, some shortstop, and a lot of center field. He's out in center today.
Dusty was talking about dealing with the youngster Trey Turner. He says, I have to sit him every now and again because he plays so hard. He's a max effort guy. We've talked about his speed throughout this series, and Dusty said sometimes I just have to sit him down, let him rest his body for a day.
Well, he's got 4 hits in the series, 3 RBIs. They had 3 balls and a strike. He drives that one deep to left field, and that one's going to go. Trey Turner, that's a big league homer, and it's 1-0 Washington.
We talk all the time about having success against the lineup. Stay out of the middle of the plate. Unfortunately, that ball is as center cut as it can possibly be. Little cut fastball. Just stayed right there. Upper part of the thighs, middle of the plate for Trey Turner.
He played 27 games last year with Washington, had 1 home run, so that's career home run number 2 for Turner, his first this year. Ben Revere with that speed, and he's going to reach safely. A bunt single for Ben Revere.
That's a big part of his arsenal. Ben Revere's speed has pretty much kept him in the big leagues all this time. Since 2011, he's first in the majors in infield hits with 163. 4th in stolen bases with 187. 6th in triples with 33. Another source of speed for Dusty Baker.
11 stolen bases for Revere. He's been caught 5 times. Bryce Harper doubled down the right field line his first time up. By the way, 451 feet, 451 on the Turner homer. Harper, even with the double, only 4 for his last 34 up there. He's been slumping all season. Diamondbacks have the shift on with Revere at first and 1 out. Two and 0. Godley working himself into trouble. A home run by Turner, the bunt single by Revere. Now it's 3-0 on Harper with the league's leading hitter on deck, Daniel Murphy. That's a strike, Bryce. Hold on here a moment. He's used to walking. He leads the major leagues in walks, Bryce Harper.
He's walked more than he struck out this season. Coming into play today, he'd drawn a base on balls 82 times. He'd only struck out 75.
Just not driving the ball like he always does. The line drive rate has taken a startling nosedive this year for Bryce Harper. A lot more soft contact at the plate. That's in there for a strike again, and it's 3-2. He can't wait to take that protective guard off his leg. Mark Rippiger behind the plate.
Well, the 3-0 pitch, occasionally the umpire will give you a little bit of room. So Matt Godley goes right back to the same spot and gets a call on 3-1.
Full count, 3-2. Revere takes off for second. Harper drives it to deep center. Michael Bourne runs it down in the gap. And that's the second out in the third. He gets Harper. Now he'll work to Daniel Murphy.
First baseman Daniel Murphy.
Murphy was walked intentionally his first time up after Godley fell behind 3-0. They got Rendon to ground out to end the first. These days, Murphy a lot more dangerous than Harper. Daniel Murphy has been especially hot over the last month. He's got 9 doubles, 6 homers, and 23 RBIs in his last 18 games. Batting .413 since July the 6th. Matt Godley falling behind in counts throughout this inning. It's 2-0. Out of play. Godley really falling off that mound hard first base side. A little more than a lean. It's his momentum sometimes when he delivers that pitch has been so much that he's almost got to run off the side of the mound.
I wonder if any of that is a byproduct of working with Zach Greinke the other day. We know when Zach throws his slow curve ball or a straight changeup, he'll jump off the mound to the first base side, anticipating that a left-hander is going to pull that ball that direction.
But every time he falls off to that side, he's a good 2, 3, 4 steps on the grass off the mound. 2-1 pitch to Murphy. 2-2. All the Diamondback starters were down working collectively in the bullpen the other day, and Zach was there with Zach Greinke working for a long time, just the two of them. Having a long one-on-one conversation with Greinke, showing Godley some different things. Zach Greinke will pitch tonight for AAA Reno in a rehab start. And he strikes out the league's leading hitter. But Trey Turner gets his first home run this year, makes it 1-0 Washington.
there's never a rush. There's no meal time. You just eat when you're hungry, and then you let it sit there for a while. Take another bite in a little while.
Creator coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. A look around the rest of the National League West. Padres hosting the Brewers at Petco Park right now, and they lead Milwaukee 3-0. Brewers in here on Friday. Johnny Cueto on the mound for the Giants at Philadelphia. And later on today, the Rockies are hosting the Dodgers. Duffy Gozawish leads off the Diamondback third against Max Scherzer. It's a little flare out to Harper in left field. One away.
That Friday game against the Brewers. Braden Shipley pitching for the Diamondbacks, and former D-back Chase Anderson starting for the Brewers.
It's the same matchup they had in the opener when we were at Miller Park last week. Oh, Max Scherzer, a leadoff walk to Michael Bourn to start the ball game. Since then, he's retired all 7 he's faced, 3 by strikeout. And with 1 out in the third, here's the pitcher, Zach Godley. Two and one. Defoe at second. 2 outs.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in a Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Diamondbacks only base runner against Scherzer has been Bourn with a leadoff walk, and he'll bat now with 2 down in the third. Michael 1 for 6 in the series. He's walked 3 times. A day off for Gene Segura today, so Bourn bats leadoff. Chris Owings in the 2-hole. Lamb third, and Goldie batting cleanup. Max Scherzer so far has walked 1, struck out 3. He's retired 8 straight. Change up from Scherzer, and Bourn stays alive. It's still 0-2.
Thought it was interesting to hear Mike Rizzo in here this morning talking about Scherzer and how not only does he want to strike you out, he wants to embarrass you and make you look bad doing it.
Well, maybe especially motivated against the Diamondbacks, the team that traded him to the Tigers not too long ago. That was a 3-team deal with the Yankees and Detroit. Diamondbacks wound up with Edwin Jackson and Ian Kennedy in that trade. 2-2 on Bourn. And Max Scherzer has his 4th strikeout. He's retired 9 straight and leads it 1-0.
I did not.
Joey Votto in Cincinnati. A fan tries to catch the ball. Votto too. Joey not happy with the fan. Hey, I'm trying to catch and work here. What do you want from me? And Joey felt bad, so he wrote a little note to the guy on a baseball and gave it to him. He said, "Thanks for being so understanding when I acted like an idiot." Sincerely, Joey Votto.
How about that?
And we've seen Joey have some fun with the fans at Great American Ballpark this year. He did that a couple of times with some fans when we were there on the last road trip. Anthony Rendon leads off the fourth. Washington with a 1-0 lead. Trey Turner a solo homer, his first this year. 451 feet with a 1 out in the third. That's out of play, and Godley's ahead 0-2 on Anthony Rendon. Rendon has hit safely in 6 straight games, 4 doubles and a home run in his last 6. He's got 4 hits in this series. He's doubled a couple of times. Base for Jake Lamb. Nice scoop by Jake and a strong perfect throw. That's what you like to see from Jake Lamb. What did he do right there that he's been struggling with before?
Well, that short hop. You're usually better off smothering the ball. Try to come in as quickly as you can and get that ball on the short hop. That one came up a little more than Jake would have liked, but still had the glove in the right position. His momentum carrying him toward his target. Nicely done.
The shortstop Danny Espinosa for 1. Espinosa slumping badly over the last few weeks. He's hitting only 133 in his last 22 games. 221 on the year. Took an 0 for 5 last night with a couple of strikeouts. And Godley's ahead 0-2. High above courtside, in the words of the late great Johnny Most. That's a good view from up there. See the whole infield.
Something really cool about that seat up there, especially if you bring your binoculars to the ball game, you look right into that third base dugout. You can watch guys over there grabbing their helmet in a pinch hit situation, guys moving around as the game progresses, and try to anticipate what Chip might do with the roster late in the ball game.
That's the view right there.
Yeah, if you see a guy get up off the bench and grab his bat and go down the stairs late in a ball game, and the pitcher spot is due up in the next half inning, that's probably going to be your pinch hitter.
Here's another case of Godley. His momentum carries him off to the side of that mound so much he's literally got to run down the side of the hill. But he gets the strikeout, his third of the ball game.
Yeah, on that spiked curveball.
Second baseman Wilmer Depot.
Not sure what it is about the curveball and the follow through that takes him so far over to that first base side, but you're right, he almost stumbled off the first base side of the mound that time.
Got a lot of momentum coming off there. Here's Wilmer Depot, the second baseman, who struck out his first time up. He's a good looking young player. Zach Godley starting to recover nicely after the Turner homer. He's walked only 1 today. That was intentional after he fell behind on Murphy. He's got 3 strikeouts. There's Trey Turner, the rookie. Defoe chases another one. Curveball working for Godley, who sprints off the mound. He's got 4 strikeouts. Diamondbacks trail the Nationals 1-0. Trey Turner home run lead the ball game 1-0. As Chris Owings will lead off the fourth against Max Scherzer. Our Lowe's home field advantage. The CL last dozen games at home hitting .317. D-backs still looking for their first hit against Scherzer. And the leadoff walk by Michael Bourne. That's been their only base runner. He's got 4 strikeouts, including Owings his first time up.
Now Chris Owings with 2 hits in the ball game last night, an infield hit in the second inning, and then a ringing double off the center field wall in the 7th.
It took a while for Chris to get back up to big league speed after he came back from the plantar fasciitis that kept him out 37 games. And something Chip Hale was telling us about on the last road trip. He's back in the groove here. He lines one, but Revere makes a nice catch in left. And that's 10 straight retired by Scherzer.
Didn't hit it much harder than that, unfortunately, right at the Nationals left fielder Ben Revere. That ball is ripped on a line.
This is the way that Chris was hitting the ball before he came up with that foot injury. And Jake Lamb has swung the bat a whole lot better, coming off that left hand bruise. He flied out to left his first time up. Nationals will shade rather than shift against Lamb. Espinosa, the shortstop, kind of behind the second base bag, and Rendon all by himself on the left hand side. Defoe almost on the dirt at second base. Usually you see the second baseman for most teams against Jake Lamb a lot deeper than that. Jake has hit safely in 4 of his last 5 games. Had a home run last night. Belted one over the pool in right center. His 22nd of the year. Two and two. Max Scherzer second in the majors in strikeouts this year, behind only the Marlins' Jose Fernandez. Scherzer in 22 starts has 8 double-digit strikeout games, including May 11th against his former team, the Tigers, when he struck out 20 in a complete game win at Nats Park. Then in his next start, he struck out 10 Mets at Citi Field. He had an amazing month of June, Max Scherzer. He made 6 starts in June. Had double-digit strikeouts in 5 of those 6 starts. 58 strikeouts in a span of 6 starts, all in 1 month. A full count on Lamb, 3 and 2. That's strikeout number 5 today. 2 outs.
Rushes a fastball up and away that time from Jake Lamb with all that tailing action.
Goldie flied out deep to center his first time up, 0 for 1.
Max Scherzer has a condition known as heterochromia. You'll notice the left eye is brown, the right eye is blue. I think National League hitters think he's some kind of cyborg out there on the mound.
He pitches like one sometimes, that's for sure. 0-1 to Goldie. Drops that slider in there, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. Who got that fastball out over the plate at 97, and Goldie fouled it off. That one missed the target big time. That's what you were talking about earlier with Tuffy, Bob. Watch where the catcher sets up, and then how much does the catcher have to move the mitt? That's how much the pitcher may miss his spot, and Scherzer missed his big time that time.
Mentioned that heterochromia that Scherzer has. When he was with the Tigers, they had a bobblehead day for him. Why not? And the doll was, well,
would have
correct,
to, right?
anatomically correct. One brown eye, one blue eye.
50 pitches so far, 32 strikes. And he's got 6 strikeouts. He's retired 12 in a row. Diamondbacks still looking for their first hit against Max Scherzer. They trail it 1-0.
History brought to you by Geico. If you go back to 1914 on this date, Yankees catcher Les Nunemaker is credited with all 3 assists in the 7th inning. Threw out 2 guys attempting to steal and also picked a runner off second base. There's a lot of good ones on August 3rd, but I always lean toward the catcher, so Les Nunemaker, nice going.
Ball 1 to Severino, who grounded out in his first at bat. 60 pitches for Godley, 39 strikes. That one sneaks through into left, a base hit for Pedro Severino, his second hit this year.
I'm not sure why Jake Lamb was playing as shallow that time as he is. You mentioned they moved him in a little bit. He was playing extremely deep earlier in the season, but Severino's not a threat to bunt for a base hit.
He does, and don't take this the wrong way, run pretty well for a catcher, Pedro Severino. He's a good athlete back there. Scherzer rounded out his first time up. He'll square to bunt. Here comes Jake from third, and he fouls it off first base side.
7 sack bunts on the season for Scherzer.
Here you get a good shot at those eyes of Max Scherzer. What'd you call it again?
Heterochromia.
Sure. Well, I asked you last night if you'd ever considered med school. Maybe you should rethink that. It's never too late.
Took me 2 days to learn how to pronounce heterochromia.
Well, we'll coach you up.
You'll notice Scherzer doesn't slide that top hand up as far on the bat as a lot of guys when they're attempting to sacrifice bunt. He gets up about to where most guys put the pine tar. A lot of barrel of the bat sticking out there in the strike zone as he attempts to get this sacrifice bunt down.
2-strike count on him now. He'll square up. Pulls back but takes strike 3. That's 5 strikeouts for Zack Godley.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Well, Zack Godley has now struck out 4 of the last 6 Nationals he's faced. Severino at first, 1 away for Trey Turner, who last time up hit one 451 feet off Godley, his first home run this year. And it looked a little something like this.
Nice easy swing from Turner. That ball a long way. What'd you say, 451?
Yeah. First guy to greet him there was the hitting coach, Rick Shue. That was Turner's 5th hit in this series. He's got 4 RBIs. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. It's got to help Zack Godley. Everything he throws moves around so much. It's got to help him to know that he's got Tuffy Gozawish back there today. It's hard to get one by Tuffy. He shaved that mustache.
Oh no.
Yeah, he had that killer mustache. I think it was last night, in fact, we were talking about that.
It's just getting going.
Yeah. It's a game day. I guess he shaved. Turner shoots this out toward Peralta in right field. 2 outs. That'll bring up Ben Revere. Both Revere and Turner in the outfield for Dusty Baker today. Revere in left and Turner in center. They acquired Revere to be their center fielder, but he was injured as soon as the season began. He played on opening day, and he actually strained his right oblique on his first swing of the year, and right away he was on the DL. Didn't get back until the first week of May. He missed the first month, and when he came back, and ever since, he's just not been the same player offensively. And as a result, he's mostly on the bench as of late. And he insists if he didn't have that oblique injury to start the year, his season would be a whole different story. Because he's been a very good hitter in the past. Was really good last year after the Blue Jays picked him up at the trade deadline. Played very well with Toronto as part of their postseason run. Hit nearly .320 in the second half of last season. But he has really struggled to hit this year. And he says he gets it. He said, I'm in a rut. Trey is playing well. Nationals are trying to win a championship, so he deserves to be out there, but he's trying to find himself again here. Batting only .209 on the year coming into the ball game. Drives this one out to Tomas. And Zack Godley strands that leadoff single. Diamondbacks trail it 1-0. Don't forget, fans, our annual alumni game is coming up Saturday, August 27th, and the lovely Vanessa is here in our booth, as always, the highlight of every game, modeling the Diamondback batting practice pullover that you will get at that game, August 27th. This is courtesy of Sanderson Ford. It's got D-backs on the back.
Yes, Sanderson Ford, my favorite.
And, of course, the new teal snake logo there, right on the front.
Very nice.
And the alumni game, I've just got some of the preliminary names here, BB. Jay Bell, Reggie Sanders, Augie Ojeda, Mark Grace will be there, of course. You will be in your role as commissioner and overseer. Now, will you be wearing the batting practice pullover? Maybe we can get you one of those.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good look.
Either that or the scrubs, one or the other.
I thought you'd want to wear this.
Oh, nice.
I heard that you wanted the T-shirt. I was mustard, but do you think this will fit him, Bob? Really, will this fit you? Because it's an extra large
pushing it a
youth.
little bit.
I don't know. Why do the kids get to do that? Then the adults never do it.
Yeah, we've never seen an adult put on the hot dog costume and run, have we?
No, we do. We've had a couple races with adults in there, especially when we do the Bud Perfect game.
Is there a rule that no adults unless there's special circumstance?
I don't know. It's just a periodic thing that we do. We'll have to talk to Rob about that one.
That's
looks
nice.
good.
That's
I
very
think
nice.
we should try. Maybe we'll just stretch it out a little bit.
Now, why did you want the Mad About Mustard T-shirt?
I was mustard. I just think that's a cool T-shirt. You know,
good.
People say, "What do you mean you're mustard?" And you can tell the story,
Is that
and then
your
people
favorite?
will want to come out here to Chase Field and get in the hot dog race.
Is that your favorite condiment?
No, that's Bert's favorite.
Yeah, I'm a mustard man.
You're a mustard guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a ketchup girl.
Yeah, me too.
So you put
I'm not
ketchup on a hot dog?
I do. I know, and that's bad, right?
Yeah, that's what
I know. I hear that all the time.
We're done here. You're dead. You're dead to me now.
I'm from Arizona, not Chicago, you know, so we do that here.
Is that an Arizona thing?
I grew up with ketchup on my hot dog.
Midwest, it was, yeah.
Okay.
On that note, I'll head out.
No, I don't.
I think Bert's the one that's off track here.
It usually is the case. Why stop now? But don't forget the alumni game coming up Saturday, August 27th. And there's the mustard on the hot dog. Now, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Fine.
A new twist to the alumni game. I know we've mentioned this earlier. It's actually before the game that day. Hold on, Vanessa. Before the game that day, right? So the alumni game starts at 2:30. And our game against the Reds is after that as the freight train shoots one down the left field line. And he is in there with a double.
Look at that.
The lovely Vanessa, thanks so much. Get on board. The freight train is back. And that's the Diamondbacks' first hit against Max Scherzer.
Doing a tailing fastball pretty much down the middle of the plate. David with an inside-out swing gets that line drive into left field, turns it into a hustle double to start the inning.
See, we get Vanessa up here.
Good things happen.
Right away, we get our first hit.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a coincidence. That snaps a stretch of 12 in a row retired by Scherzer. Here's Yasmani Tomas.
Yeah, talking about the alumni game, Steven Randolph stuck his head in the booth this morning. Steven's in great shape. He says he's been throwing every day, so he might be the guy to bet on.
He was at spring training every day as Tomas misses the first pitch.
Steven looks like he could still pitch. But Steven Randolph pitching to Reggie Sanders. That'll be a good one. Or Junior Spivey.
That game is the 27th. It starts at 2:30. And that's before the game against the Reds that night. So it's alumni game first this year. Then the regular ball game Saturday, August 27th. You can get your tickets at dbacks.com/alumni. There's news on there about who's playing in the alumni game. Tomas kind of shuffled his feet that time, and it's 0-2.
The following day is chiropractor day here at the ballpark. Come watch some of your favorite alums get worked on.
That's right. So you'll be there either wearing your D-backs batting practice pullover or your I Was Mustard T-shirt.
I don't know about that T-shirt. I think it's going to be just a tad small.
A little snug. Well, you can give it to one of the grandchildren.
There you go.
They can spill mustard all over it. Or ketchup, since they're in the Midwest.
They're really good at that.
Of course, Phil Mollica, our director, Phil the Iron Horse Mollica, he's from New Jersey. So he's used to wearing T-shirts that are too small.
Ooh, wow.
That's the look there, isn't it? The Bon Jovi look?
Of course it is.
Yeah. He'll be wearing that on the flight back to St. Louis. That one rolls away from Severino, and Peralta's in at third.
Severino showing pretty good judgment right here. Blocked that ball. It got over toward the on-deck circle. We talked about his big arm and his defensive abilities behind the plate, but probably better served just to hang on to that one right there. Oh, man, you got to cash this one in. Got to cash it in.
Tomas waves at a slider and strikes out. That's 7 for Scherzer. 1 down in the 5th.
Hard slider. Right on the outside corner and then dipping low and away out of the zone.
Scherzer has struck out through the middle of the order, mind you. 3 of the last 4 he's faced. He got Lamb and Goldie to end the 4th. Now Tomas after the Peralta double. Here's Brandon Drury. Brandon struck out looking his first time up. Infield is in for Washington. Peralta at third, 1 away, and there's the strike. It's been a slow month for Brandon Drury. He has hit .210 in his last 20 games. Him up. Long run in for Harper. And he won't get it. Peralta will score, and we're all tied. Well, Defoe backed off from second base. He was much better positioned to field that ball, but Harper had a full head of steam trying to run it down, and it bounced off the glove.
Harper with a real bad read off the bat. He kind of held his ground initially out there in right field, then realized it wasn't going to carry that far. Hits him right in the middle of the glove, just bounces out. David Peralta went back to tag up and see what was happening out there in shallow right field. He trots home with a tying run.
That's a single and an RBI for Brandon Drury, and it's a 1-1 ball game as Tuffy Gozawish steps up. Defoe could have had that no problem, but he was looking at Harper, who was coming right at him on a dead run, and he was not going to get in the way of that. So Peralta, a double, a wild pitch, and a bloop single for Drury have tied the ball game. Tuffy flying out his first time up. Another one for Harper in right field. 2 outs. Here's Zach Godley.
Zach Godley.
He grounded out in his first at bat against Max Scherzer.
You see that violent delivery by Scherzer out there on the mound, kind of jerking his head to the first base side as he releases that ball. And a lot of baseball people felt very early on in his career that that was going to be a problem. Kind of a max effort guy with a violent delivery. They thought he was going to have all kinds of arm problems. Over the last 6 years, only James Shields has started more games than Max Scherzer. He's been as reliable as you can possibly imagine.
It just shows you that everybody's physiology is different. Some pitchers are constantly battling elbow and shoulder problems. Other guys can throw max effort all the time and be just fine. There is no magic pill or magic formula to keep these guys healthy. Yank that fastball, and it's 2-2 on Zack Godley. Of course, he went through the great debate while he was here, Max Scherzer, that some people talk about Robbie Ray right now. Is he better served as a starter or reliever? A lot of people, when Max Scherzer was a Diamondback, said reliever. And Robbie was sensational for a while last night. Looked as good as we've seen him. There's a pop-up third base side for Rendon in foul ground, and that's the end of the inning. But Peralta gets the leadoff double, Drury the single. We're all tied at 1. Live high-speed highlights. It's presented by Cox. So far, pretty good for Zack Godley. He's given up just 1 run on 4 hits. He's walked 1 that was intentional, and he's got 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, and his stuff has looked extremely dominating today. Has shown that great curveball at times. The changeup has been good for him. He's thrown some really nice cutters underneath the hands of the left-handed hitters in the Nationals lineup. Locked up with one of the best in the game.
He's given up 2 singles, a double by Harper. The big blow was the Trey Turner home run with 1 out in the 3rd, and that's been Washington's only run. And now he'll work to the most difficult part of the Nationals order in the 6th. Harper, Murphy, and Rendon 3, 4, and 5. One run on 4 hits for Washington, 1 run on 2 hits for Arizona. The shift is on against Harper. He has doubled and flying out to center, 1 for 2. Harper really seeing a lot more breaking balls recently. That's led to his slump. He has struggled to make solid contact against curveballs and sliders this year. And the part of the strike zone that Harper has really struggled with. Uh-oh, his hair has a negative WAR. That's bad.
Uh-oh.
His wins above replacement is fine, but his hair is costing him nearly 5 wins a year. That's sabermetrics right there. But the part of the plate at which Harper's really had trouble defending is that inside corner, down and in. Pitchers have been able to get him down there. And he swung and missed at pitches in that location a lot this year. Ahead 3-0 here. There's a good example. Oftentimes it's with a breaking ball, but he's had trouble defending that corner low and in.
And you can see his momentum carried him out of the back of the batter's box toward that first base dugout. I was talking to Dusty about this yesterday. Sometimes when a guy is just a natural, and I don't think there's any doubt that Bryce Harper was one of those guys, a very unique swing.
This is driven right to Bourne and right out of the center. He flies out to lead off the sixth.
You know, sometimes guys like that are a little tougher to fix. He's so set in his ways, and it's not a quote unquote typical approach at the plate. It's very much different than most guys at the major league level. It certainly worked for him up to this point, but trying to fix it now, Dusty said you just have to focus on the mental part of it, making sure he's swinging at good pitches, making sure he's not chasing bad balls that he can't handle anyway.
Everybody has an opinion on what's wrong with Bryce Harper. Here's Daniel Murphy. Nothing wrong with him leading the National League in hitting.
But see, I'd call Murphy's swing a little more traditional. He's very balanced in the batter's box. There's very little wasted movement, has his hands in a good hitting position, and he's very quick to the ball. Bryce Harper that's a very unique swing that he features.
Yeah, he's swinging for the fences every time. He's got that big, long, hard swing where Murphy's much more quiet, much more controlled, it seems. He's got 5 hits and 3 RBIs in the series, Daniel Murphy. And has walked and struck out so far today. And that one's going to go. Daniel Murphy, that's number 21. Second home run given up by Zack Godley. Both solo shots, and it's 2-1 Nationals. That is his 7th home run in the last 19 games, Daniel Murphy.
That cutter that just didn't get in there far enough. That one stayed on the inner third of the plate for Murphy, and there's that good quick swing we were talking about. Very little wasted motion, just bat to the ball.
She's got it. Anthony Rendon. This one might get down in left center, and it drops in for a single. That's Rendon's 5th hit in the series.
The Nationals swept the Player of the Month award. Steven Strasburg was the National League Pitcher of the Month, and Daniel Murphy the National League Player of the Month for the numbers he's put up. It looks like he wants to win Player of the Month in August as well.
He's headed for an MVP the way he's going. Here comes Mike Butcher to talk to Zack Godley. Bullpen still quiet for the Diamondbacks. Godley just over 80 pitches here with 1 out in the 6th. Espinosa has popped up, struck out 0 for 2. He is coming off an 0 for 5 last night. There was a time when Danny Espinosa stopped hitting left-handed. He's a switch hitter, but it used to be that he was so much better right-handed. They said, look, why don't you go through spring training and just hit righty all spring, regardless of who's out on the mound. Let's see how that works. And they had to talk him into it. He likes to switch hit, but the splits were just so drastic that left-hand side wasn't working out. So they experimented trying to make him just bat righty. Finally worked it out where he's now just about even from either side of the plate.
A little more power from the left side.
Can't check his swing that time, and it's 1-1. Yeah, only a 5-point difference in batting average, right side versus left for Espinosa this year. So he's worked hard at it. I've always wondered why some guys who switch hit in the splits are so drastic. Well, just give up, man.
Because then you can't say you're a switch hitter.
Good change up there from Zach, and it's 1-2.
Of course, if you've ever stood in the left-handed batter's box against a Chris Sale slider or a right-handed batter's box against anything Max Scherzer throws, you want to try switch hitting.
Jeez.
A lot of hitters wanted to become switch hitters when they faced Randy. A lot of those lefties wanted to turn around and hit from the right side, even just for one day.
Or they just wanted the day off.
That happened a lot.
I'm not feeling too good. Full count, 3-2 now. Wilmer Difo on deck. Three-two pitch. Rendon holds it first. This one is a tough play for Drury. And there is no play. Espinosa's aboard. That was a very slow roller, and Brandon had to go a long way to get to that one. An infield single for Espinosa.
Just a little topper once it gets by Goldie. It's going to be a tough play for Brandon Drury. Fortunately, knocked it down. That holds Rendon at second base. Had that ball rolled through into right field, Rendon might have had thoughts about moving up to third base.
Well, that's 3 straight hits for the Nationals. And Wilmer Difo, who has struck out twice against Godley so far, will be the hitter. Rendon at second, Espinosa at first. Slaps that one foul over the head of Bob Henley at third. Bullpen will start to get busy for the Diamondbacks with Godley approaching 90 pitches. A Tapper foul, and it's 0-2. There's Davey Lopes coaching in first. Evan Marshall starting to warm up from the right-hand side. Steve Hathaway from the left in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. 0-2 on Wilmer Difo. 2 on, 1 out. And he got him. Difo strikes out against Godley for the 3rd time today. And that's 6 strikeouts for Zach. It's been the same pitch every time. That curveball or changeup just dropping off the table.
Until he proves he can do some damage against that pitch, just keep going back to it.
Pedro Severino. A ground out of single. He's 1 for 2. The catcher today. Wilson Ramos with a day off after catching last night. Rendon at second, Espinosa at first, 2 outs. And it's 1-0 on Severino. Called up from the minor leagues last weekend to back up Ramos. The Nationals
had Jose Lobaton as their backup catcher, but Lobaton is on the DL. He's got left elbow tendonitis, so they're getting a look at Severino. Just turned 23 years old, Pedro Severino, about 2 weeks ago. He's been playing for their AAA team in Syracuse all year. In there for a strike, 1-1. That's enough for Mark Ripperger anyway.
It's a tough pitch to hit.
Throw it again. Coming inside this time. And he hits Severino, so the bases will be loaded with 2 outs for the pitcher, Max Scherzer.
Just a glancing shot off the back of his left hand right there. Severino immediately turns around to Ripperger behind the plate, but no pleading necessary. He gets his base, and that loads him up for Max Scherzer.
Scherzer has grounded out, struck out 0 for 2. Rendon at third, Espinosa at second, Severino at first. Harper lined out to center to lead off the inning. Murphy homered his 21st. And singles by Rendon and Espinosa. Defoe struck out. He hit Severino. Now they're loaded with 2 down for Scherzer. And it's 0-2.
Just does get a piece of that 0-2 curveball that time. Boy, you see the steely-eyed focus on Zack Godley. He understands this is a pivotal point in the ball game right here. Even though it's the opposing pitcher at the plate, you've got to make your best pitches right now.
Really like the way this young man competes out there. That one gets into center. Rendon will score. Espinosa coming home. The throw from Bourne is cut off. And the Nationals lead it 4-1. Max Scherzer a 2-run single with 2 outs.
I say it all the time. Anybody with a bat in their hands is dangerous, especially when you make mistakes over the middle of the plate. Godley's made very few mistakes, but that's another cutter. Middle of the plate, top of the thighs. Even a pitcher can handle that ball as Scherzer drives it back up the middle for a base hit.
Trey Turner, who homered in the third.
It's something that Godley had been able to avoid up until this 6th inning, but over the last 3 games, the Diamondbacks have now allowed 3 or more runs in an inning 9 times in 3 games.
Ed Rooney. And 3 consecutive hits for Washington, all with 1 out in this inning, and all 3 scored. Now you got Severino at second, Scherzer at first. A 1-1 count on Turner. Again, that pitch with Godley falling well off the mound toward the first base side. 100 pitches, just over 60 for strikes. It's Turner to chase that one. And Godley gets his 7th strikeout, but the Nationals get 3. They lead it 4-1. We start the home half of the 6th inning at Chase Field. A day off tomorrow. And then Friday, the Brewers come in for the first of 3. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. And coincidentally, not ironically, the pitching matchup of the first 3 games will be exactly the same as it was for the first 3 games at Miller Park.
Jimmy's pitching a day game.
Jimmy's pitching Sunday.
Yeah.
Jimmy's matched up against Archie Bradley. And in the opener Friday night, it'll be former D-back Chase Anderson back here at Chase Field against Braden Shipley, who was outstanding in his previous start against the Dodgers over the weekend. So that's coming up starting on Friday. Don't forget Saturday, fans. Matt Gaza versus Patrick Corbin. That's a Zach Greinke bobblehead day. Zach Greinke making a rehab start tonight for the AAA Reno Aces. And then Archie gets the ball Sunday against Jimmy Nelson. Well, Max Scherzer so far has given up only 1 run on 2 hits. He's got 7 strikeouts, and Michael Bourne will lead off the 6th. Michael 1 for 7 in the series. He's walked 3 times, including a base on balls to lead off the ball game. He hits that one right to Defoe at second base. 1 pitch, 1 out for Scherzer. Chris Owings now, CO 0 for 2.
Shortstop, Chris Owings.
Mentioned that when Chris first came back from that plantar fasciitis that kept him out for nearly 40 games, you could tell he wasn't quite up to major league speed, and Chip Hale was pointing that out. It takes a while. Doesn't matter how well you do in those minor league rehab games. It's a different ball game at this level. And Chris, when he first came back, was 1 for 18. But now he's hit safely in 5 straight and really hitting the ball a lot better.
Chris robbed in his last at bat, leading off the 4th inning, hit a rope of a line drive right at Ben Revere in left field.
He's got 3 hits in this series, had a double last night. Danny Espinosa at shortstop. Low throw. Murphy's got it. Another day off for Ryan Zimmerman. Murphy in there at first again today, and there are 2 outs. Zimmerman was hit on the wrist by a pitch over the weekend in San Francisco, so we have not seen him in this series. Here's Jake Lamb batting 3rd today. He's 0 for 2. Ball 1. Nationals do have the shift on. Espinosa, the shortstop, on the first base side of second. There's a fly ball deep right center field. And that ball is gone. Jake Lamb is 23rd. And it's 4-2. His 2nd home run in as many games. And that left hand is feeling a whole lot better.
Yeah, it's funny how he heals a lot quicker and feels a lot better when you're hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Well, we mentioned Scherzer gives up a lot of bombs. That's his 23rd on the season.
Yeah, no pitcher in the National League has given up more home runs this year than Max Scherzer. Here's Goldie 0 for 2. Missed with that breaking ball. 1-0. Goldie has flying out struck out. Now the jumbo jack there for Jake Lamb is 2nd in as many games. You get Tomas and Lamb going at the same time, then you really have something in that lineup. Jake was red hot earlier. And he hurt his hand. Tomas picked it up. He couldn't get Yasmani out for a while. Got to get them both going together.
I don't think there has been a stretch of this season where the Diamondbacks have really been firing on all cylinders offensively.
It's always been one guy at a time, it seems. Brandon Drury very early in the year.
Drury got hot, Goldie got hot and then cooled off. Wellington Castillo a little bit here and there got hot and then cooled off, but I don't think there's really been a major stretch where everybody's been hitting well at the same time.
Takes that one for strike 3. 8 strikeouts for Scherzer, but now 23 homers for Jake Lamb. He homered over the pool last night. Gets one in there today, and it's 4-2. The 7th inning. Hey, D-backs fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device. Just use the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app and take Fox Sports Arizona and D-backs baseball with you wherever you go. 3rd major league appearance for the 25-year-old left-hander Steve Hathaway. Hathaway did a nice job in the opener here Monday against Washington. He worked 2 innings, gave up only 1 single, and retired 6 of the 7 he faced.
Faced 3 straight left-handed hitters to start the inning here, and just a capper on Zach Godley's afternoon. We talked about the curveball and how good it was today. Threw 18 of them, 14 for strikes, 6 strikeouts on curveballs.
That pitch that seemed to get him into trouble was that cut fastball, as you said earlier.
Just had a couple that didn't move the way he wanted them to, stayed over the heart of the plate.
And Revere 1 for 3, a bunt single in the 3rd, and there's a strike from Steve Hathaway. So this young man looked very good his last time out after a bumpy big league debut Sunday at Dodger Stadium. Gave up 3 hits, including a home run to a left-hand hitter, Corey Seager. But then did a nice job brushing that one off when he came back and pitched the next day here against Washington. A bouncer to first. Hathaway has to hustle, and he can't collect the baseball. Revere, who flies up that line, is aboard to lead off the 7th. That was going to be a tough play anyway. Hit very slowly midway between the first baseman and the pitcher.
Ben Revere, if this is credited as an infield hit, we'll have an infield hit and a bunt hit on this ball game.
Right fielder Bryce Harper.
That's a base hit for Revere, who's now 2 for 4. Hasn't hit one out of the infield yet. Harper doubled into first. He's 1 for 3. Well, they just changed that to error 1. That's a tough error on Hathaway.
Really tough error.
It's on a dead run. He's got Goldie behind him. That's a very difficult error. Got Revere flying up that line. That's all right. I'm not sure he beats Revere to the bag anyway, even if he catches the baseball. take the hit away from Revere, give Hathaway the error. Well, Hathaway in there, as Bob mentioned, with the 3 consecutive lefties. Revere, Harper, and Murphy. Murphy on deck. But after you get by Murphy, you've got some right-handers coming up, mostly anyway. So Enrique Burgos has started throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. Harper slams the 2-1 deep to left field. Yasmani Tomas just shy of the wall, runs it down, and Revere will scamper back to the bag at first. Nicely done there by Tomas. That ball was smashed the other way by Harper.
First baseman, Daniel Murphy.
Yasmani knew right where he was on the field, knew he had a little bit of room before crashing into that left field wall.
You can't watch Yasmani Tomas lately as Mike Butcher pays a mound visit here and not be impressed by his improvement. We saw him ahead in counts all night long last night, had some very good at bats, and he's looked better defensively as well. Well, now Hathaway, who just a few years ago was pitching at Franklin Pierce University in New Hampshire, will face the National League's leading hitter in Daniel Murphy. Murphy homered his last time up. His 21st of the year. Diamondbacks have liked what they've seen from Steve Hathaway in the minor leagues this year. He's done a nice job at AA Mobile and AAA Reno. In total, he worked 40 innings and had a 2.48 ERA. He can get you some ground balls and some strikeouts. He was not in big league camp this spring. But as Chip Hale has told us, this is part of what will be a process over the final 2 months of this year. Find guys who can emerge in that bullpen and help them next season. In the air, left center field for Michael Bourn. So pretty good job against 3 very good left-hand hitters for Steve Hathaway. Got the little infield dribbler on which Revere reached. He gets Harper and Murphy to fly out. Burgos warming up with the pen, and Chip Hale will go to his right-hander. So that's 2 very good and impressive outings for Steve Hathaway here. His first look at the big leagues after he was called up this weekend, and he'll leave this one. That's what Chip is telling him right now. Good job. Enrique Burgos on his way in, back after this.
Enrique Burgos on to face Anthony Rendon. Follow Arizona Diamondbacks baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video, highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet.
Enrique Burgos worked Monday against these Nationals. He pitched the 9th inning, retired all 3 batters he faced on ground ball outs. 19 appearances this year and a 3.66 ERA. He'll work to Anthony Rendon with Ben Revere at first and 2 outs. And Burgos is one of these young relievers that's emerged as part of the 2017 solution. Always the first 2 names mentioned by Chip Hale are Jake Barrett and Enrique Burgos from the youngsters they've seen this year. There's a strike at 96 from Burgos, who throws hard. He's got a big slider too.
You know, Burgos and Barrett both have stuff that can miss bats, and a lot of times late in a ball game these guys are going to be coming in with traffic on the bases, and you don't even want the ball put into play.
There's Jake Barrett, who looks to be a candidate to be the closer moving forward. There's a fly ball out to right center for Bourne. Enrique Burgos gets the job done. Good job by Hathaway and Burgos. It's 4-2. Diamondbacks trail at bottom 7 coming up.
After the 7th inning, D-backs trail by 2. Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
The freight train, David Peralta, who doubled and scored to lead off the 5th against Max Scherzer, will lead off the 7th with the Diamondbacks trailing the Nationals 4-2. That one slipped away from Scherzer. It's 1-0. Peralta has struck out and doubled. He is 3 for 17 since his return from that lower back strain that kept him out for 35 games. Well, here we go again. Ben Revere was originally credited with a single on that little dribbler between Goldie and Hathaway at first base. Then they took the base hit away, gave Hathaway an error. Now they have, I think correctly, taken the error away from Hathaway and given Revere a base hit. Trey Turner with that good speed runs that down in right center. So no error for Hathaway, and is a single for Revere to lead off the 7th inning.
But stay tuned.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's the right call.
I totally agree. Yasmani Tomas has flat out struck out 0 for 2. This one is hit high and deep and gone. El Tanque Yasmani Tomas. That's his 19th. Tomas has homered in consecutive games, and the hit parade continues. And the Diamondbacks are back within 1. Boy, Bob, he looks like a different guy the last month or so.
Oh, my. That is the very definition of a hanging breaking ball right there.
He doesn't miss those.
No, he does not. We've talked at length recently about how well he handles pitches from the middle of the plate in, especially when they're fluttering up there like that.
Well, Lamb homered in the 6th. Now Tomas in the 7th. Both solo shots. And here's Brandon Drury, who had an RBI single his last time up. There it goes.
Well, that just missed Friday's Front Row Sports Grill out there in the second deck.
Yasmani Tomas with 6 home runs in his last 15 games. Drury waves at that 0-2 pitch. 9 strikeouts for Scherzer. El Tanque.
That's what's supposed to happen, though. If a good pitcher makes a mistake, you've got to be ready to take advantage of it. And that was a rare mistake by Max Scherzer. Just a nothing breaking ball over the inside part of the plate, just above the belt. That's what you're supposed to do to that pitch.
Well, Tuffy Gozowish's spot is up here, but Tuffy has been recalled, and Wellington Castillo will take the at-bat. Well, he's had a rough series, 0 for 8 with 4 punch-outs. And he'll bat with the bases empty and 2 outs. 254 and 11 home runs. Diamondbacks have now scored in 3 consecutive innings against Max Scherzer. Peralta doubled. Drury had an RBI single in the 5th. Lamb homered in the 6th. Now Tomas in the 7th. As Castillo bats for Gozowich. Bullpen still quiet for the Nationals. Scherzer now over 90 pitches. Pitcher spot is up next. Phil Gosselin in the on-deck circle. Should Castillo reach? And there for a strike, and it's 2-2. Count is full. Well, I figure if Max Scherzer is going to start giving up home runs, you might as well send Beef Wellington up there. See if he can tie the ball game on one swing. He strikes out for the 5th time in the series, but Yasmani Tomas homers for the 2nd time in as many games. A solo shot is 19th of the year, and it's a 1-run ball game at Chase. afternoon. Diamondbacks trail the Nationals 4-3 as we start the 8th inning. And fans, August 23rd, a reminder, it's ASU night here at Chase Field. Get a lower level ticket and a custom ASU D-backs cap, both for only $15. Limited quantities available, so get your tickets now at dbacks.com/ASU. Sun Devils getting the football team cranked up this week. Wellington Castillo takes over behind the plate for Tuffy Gozawish, and Danny Espinosa leads off the Washington 8th against Enrique Burgos. Espinosa singled and scored his last time up, 1 for 3. Well, this is the type of inning from Enrique Burgos, who came on and got Rendon to fly out to win the 7th, the only batter he faced. This is the kind of inning you want to see him just blow right through. You've got Espinosa, Defoe, and Severino 6, 7, and 8. That's down a good bunt, but Burgos is on it. Nicely done. 1 out.
Nice play by big Enrique Burgos, bouncing off the mound right there. Wasn't a great bunt, but for a big guy to reach down there and scoop that ball and shovel on to Goldie for the out, that's a nice play.
Enrique Burgos, 6'4", 250. He's a big dude out there. Wilmer Defoe, 5'11", steps in. He is 0 for 3 today. Struck out all 3 times he faced Zach Godley. Just could not hit that breaking pitch. And he swings through that one. It's 0-1.
3 strikeouts on 10 pitches, and all 3 at bats ended up with a curveball for strike 3.
Curveball bats are afraid. He's got a base hit. Sure enough, lines it into left. A 1-out single. Defoe had a 3-hit night last night. 2-run double on Monday. Now a 1-out single here in the 8th inning.
Defoe, another guy that just kind of keeps both feet planted on the ground, just kind of rocks his weight back onto his back foot, and then once again out onto the front foot, slap that ball the other way for a 1-out base hit.
He's been very impressive in this series, Wilmer Defoe. Good looking young player. Pedro Severino, the catcher, has singled and been hit by a pitch. He's 1 for 2. Just called up for the minor leagues last weekend to back up Wilson Ramos. Jose Lobaton went on the DL with a left elbow issue. Mentioned that Defoe has some very impressive stolen base numbers in the minor leagues. 49 steal season 2 years ago in the South Atlantic League. Stole 30 last year between A-ball and Double-A. Fastball missed away. It's 1-0 on Pedro Severino. Playing in only his 3rd big league game this year. He was hitting .259 with 2 homers at AAA Syracuse this season. That's that big Enrique Burgos slider right there that comes in high 80s, touches 90 sometimes. Pretty soon in this effort to pick up pace of play that Commissioner Manfred talks about all the time, that's going to be illegal. I bet they will rule that if you come set, you have to deliver a pitch or step off and throw over. You can't just stand there. They're always looking at stuff like that. I bet that pops up on the radar screen.
That's something that's been around the game forever, and there's a purpose for it. You know, you stand out there and hold the ball on the mound, hoping to get that runner at first base to maybe start leaning towards second if he's stealing. Maybe the batter slides his hand ever so slightly up the bat to show bunt. I mean, that's a design call from the bench.
Severino knocks it into left. Well, they're of course talking about bringing in relievers, and you have to face at least more than one batter. All kinds of somewhat radical changes to speed the pace of play, and you'll hear a lot about that this winter.
Pitcher, Max Scherzer.
So 2 on and 1 out. Max Scherzer will take the at bat against Burgos in the 8th inning.
Diamondbacks assuming a bunt here. Jake Lamb goes through the signs. Paul Goldschmidt walks over and verbally lets Enrique Burgos know what play is on here. You would think with the speed of Defoe on at second base, they'll just play the standard bunt defense. Jake Lamb will read the bunt. If he feels Enrique Burgos can get over to that third base side and field it, he'll go back to the bag. If not, Jake Lamb will come in and field it and try to get the out at first.
Right back to the mound. Burgos will take the out at first. Almost threw it away, and Drury does a nice job to collect that one as the runners move up. Defoe in at third and Severino at second. Good play there by Brandon Drury. That one was headed for the seats.
He rushed a little bit at the end of the play, but I like the fact that Burgos realized right away my play is at first base. He saw Jake Lamb coming in from his position, realized there was no play at third, so get the out at first. He rushed his throw a little bit and pulled Drury off the bag, but yeah, a lot of times you'll see a pitcher field that ball, and the first thing they want to do is look up and try to get the lead runner at third base, and by the time they wheel around and throw to first, it's too late.
Trey Turner. Big out for Burgos right here. Got to keep this a 1-run ball game. Second and third, 2 outs. Turner homered in the third, his first this year. He's 1 for 4. He's got 5 hits in the series. Burgos ahead, no balls and 2 strikes on Trey Turner.
Boy, to say that the Nationals offense has been relentless in this series is somewhat of an understatement. 14 of their 28 runs that they've scored have come with 2 outs in the inning.
Well, that's one rule that'll never change. Hopefully, you still got to get all 3. Bob Henley is the third base coach. He's been directing all this traffic for the Nationals, and he's got 2 outs now and a pretty good young hitter up there. Runners at second and third. He'll check in with Defoe, but now watch how far down the line he'll work. He'll get more than halfway down there, so we can keep an eye on Defoe at third and Severino at second.
Yeah, and if the ball's put into play to the outfield, he can bring Severino around the bag at third, and if he has to throw up a late stop sign, he can do so.
The 0-2 to Turner. Fastball missed, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, once that runner passes you, if you're in that coach's box down there at third, once the runner passes you, it's too late now. You can't stop him. But if you get yourself way down that line and read the ball into the outfield, if you have to, you can run back toward the bag at third, throw up the stop sign for the runner at second base.
And Burgos has got to do his part too. He saw Severino getting a little too good of a lead down there at second, so he stepped off. One and 2 on Trey Turner. Called strike 3. Dots the fastball at 97 and strands 2. Enrique Burgos keeps it a 1-run ball game.
left. Coming up, Diamondbacks Live, the post-game show, and Joe Borowski. It sounds like you and Bob Brenly are on the same page when it comes to Zack Godley today, what he did right and how he made some mistakes, right?
Real encouraging. I thought he looked real good out there. I think he may have found a new pitch that's going to help him a lot. Also made some mistakes that did hurt him. We'll break it down and show you everything.
All right, let's get it back to the booth. Steve and Bob, take it away. Bring it home.
Okay, guys, thanks. Look forward to that as soon as our ball game is over on Fox Sports Arizona. Max Scherzer is back out there to start the bottom of the 8th inning. Action will just now get started in the Washington bullpen with Scherzer over 90 pitches. And Phil Gosselin leads it off. He'll hit for Burgos. There's a strike, 0-1. Oliver Perez, former Diamondback great. The left-hander starts warming up. Defoe from the outfield grass at second. 1 down.
For all the talk about Max Scherzer and the strikeout pitch, and he's got a bunch of them in the ball game today. He's been very efficient, getting a lot of quick pitch outs, 1 and 2 pitch at bats by Diamondbacks hitters. That's why his pitch count is only 94 here in the 8th inning.
Mike Maddox, the pitching coach. Michael Bourne walked to lead off the ball game against Scherzer. He's 0 for 2. Rendon will come in a step or two at third. This would not be a bad time for Michael Bourne to try bunting for a base hit. But now Rendon backs off with a 1-0 count. That's in there for a strike.
Now, third baseman will play games with guys that might bunt for a base hit. They may come in front of the baseline, make sure the batter sees them, and then back off as the pitch is being delivered, or do the opposite, play back and then come in 3 or 4 steps quickly.
Defoe one more time.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Jake Barrett warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. He'll get the 9th inning after they hit for Burgos. Chris Owings 0 for 3. Chris has 3 hits in this series. He doubled last night. Got a 5-game hit streak on the line right here. Max Scherzer so far today, 1 walk. He has struck out 10, given up 2 home runs. D-backs still with only 4 hits in the ball game. Didn't get their first hit till Peralta's double led off the 5th. He scored on a Drury single, and home runs by Lamb in the 6th and Tomas in the 7th, both solo shots. One and 2 on Chris Owings. Nationals in the 9th inning will have Ben Revere, Bryce Harper, and Daniel Murphy 2, 3, and 4, with Jake Barrett still warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Oh, Max Scherzer, a quick 1, 2, 3, 8th inning will hit the 9th. It's 4-3 Washington. Son were even in a game in which he gives up a couple of home runs. Max Scherzer finds a way to dominate both the homers solo shots, one by Jake Lamb, one by Yasmani Tomas, but he walked one. That was the first batter of the ball game, finished with 11 strikeouts.
A very impressive outing by Max Scherzer. We mentioned he does give up his share of home runs, but doesn't walk a lot of guys. He has that strikeout pitch in his back pocket whenever he needs it, and he was throwing harder in the 8th inning than he did in the 1st.
Retired the final 5 he faced after Tomas's home run with one down in the 7th. Jake Barrett on now. A 2.79 ERA in 44 appearances. He got his 3rd save of the year Saturday at Dodger Stadium when he got the final 4 outs. He'll work to Ben Revere, Bryce Harper, and Daniel Murphy 2, 3, and 4 in the Washington 9th.
Watch your bunt.
Revere has 2 base hits today, but he's yet to hit the ball out of the infield.
Guys that have speed and have used the bunt as a weapon in the past, when they're leading off an inning, that's the time that they're most likely to try to bunt their way on base ahead of the thumpers in the middle of this Nationals order. We talked about Revere the other night. He's got a lot going on. He's got a little bit of the Joe Morgan chicken wing on the back arm. Got a big hitch, drops his hands, and then brings them back up into a hitting position. Upper body's moving all over the place.
His first season with Washington after he split last year between the Phillies and the Blue Jays. There's that Joe Morgan move. Ben Revere had a really good postseason in Toronto last year. Had 7 hits in their division series win over Texas. And 5 hits in the ALCS against Kansas City. Broken bat roller to Brandon Drury at second base. Enrique Burgos did a very good job keeping this a 1-run ball game, even though he gave up a couple of hits with 1 out in the 8th inning. And now it's up to Jake Barrett to do the same against the Nationals' best hitters. It'll be Harper and Murphy now with 1 out. Harper doubled in the 1st. He's 1 for 4. Diamondbacks will have their chance in the 9th. Jake Lamb, Paul Goldschmidt, David Peralta due up 3, 4, and 5. Shift is on against Harper. They are pushing Brandon Drury back further and further out in short right field against Harper. He yanked a double right down the line in right in his first at bat today. Harper, as he steps in here, only 4 for his last 37 up there. He's still trying to figure it out. It's been a 3-month-long slump. Mark Melancon, the new closer, started warming up at the Nationals bullpen. Carved this one the other way. Yasmani Tomas out there, but Chris Owings ranges over from shortstop, and he's got it for the 2nd out. One more big out to get. It's Daniel Murphy. A home run in the 6th, his 21st this year. He's got 6 hits in the series. He's knocked in 4 runs. We go through Murphy's game logs line by line over the course of this year. Look in the hit column. Every night, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2. It's unbelievable.
Now they want Jake Barrett to move the rosin bag to the back of the mound where it's not in the hitter's line of sight. It's an old veteran trick. Use the rosin bag and then drop it right there on the right side.
Oh, I didn't mean to leave it there. I'm sorry.
Geez, I didn't realize. My bad.
How careless of me. Thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Umpire. 96 is in there, and it's 0-1 on Murphy. Leading the league in hits, doubles, slugging, OPS, total bases, and hitting. 356 on the season. 1-1.
Yeah, compare the way Daniel Murphy sets up in that batter's box to the way Ben Revere did. And there's a lot of different ways to hit, but Murphy just so relaxed. Little hand movement there.
There was an article, I want to say it was in the New York Times over the weekend, about the title was "Where Have All the Batting Stances Gone?" And he used to think back to even a year day and after that, you know, Julio Franco would be up there and Bobby Tolan a little earlier and all these crazy stances. Now there's so much video and coaching, everybody kind of seems to hit the same almost.
Well, and I think because of the velocity on the mound, you've had to shorten everything up. Yeah. Everything has to be shorter and quicker to the ball because guys are throwing so much harder.
Especially late in these ball games where every guy that comes in throws 96, 98. But it used to be that everybody had a crazy, goofy batting stance. Some guys had really sweet Will Clark type swings. Other guys awkward. Davey Lopes would do his thing. But now everybody seems kind of be made out of the same mold.
Yeah, look at some of those old time videos. You know, way back in the day, Babe Ruth and some of those guys, their hands were separated 6 inches on the handle of the bat. They had big hitches and big leg kicks.
Off the glove of Barrett. Nice adjustment there by Drury, but he can't pick it up with a bare hand, and Murphy's aboard, and Brandon's got to finish the play. Murphy took a big turn and headed towards second base. Drury kind of gave up on that ball. It was behind him on the dirt the whole time, and Murphy almost ran into an out there. Good example for Brandon Drury. Don't give up until the ball's in your glove.
Ball still in play. Nobody's called timeout. That base runner is still active over there. Man, you love the aggressiveness from Daniel Murphy. I mean, this guy would normally be content. Okay, I got another base hit. I'm on at first. I'm leading the National League in hits. He's looking to take an extra base with 2 outs in the inning to get into scoring position.
Anthony Rendon, 1 for 4. He singled and scored in the 6th. We're going to look back, Bob, in that 6th inning against Zack Godley, and the hit, if this score holds, that will really stand out, is that 2-run single by Max Scherzer. There was 2 strikes, 2 outs, and he had a base hit up the middle to score 2.
Yeah, and it's never really fair to second guess after the fact, but Max Scherzer took a horrible swing on a curveball on the pitch before. And then they tried to come back with a cutter that just caught too much of the plate, and Scherzer grounded it right back up the middle of the field.
But that hit, that at bat, has been the difference in the ball game so far. That was in the 6th inning, because then in the bottom of the 6th, Lamb homered, and in the bottom of the 7th, Tomas homered, both solo shots. And now Barrett trying to get us to the home half of the 9th and keep it a 4-3 ball game. 2 outs, 0-2 on Rendon. Mark Rippiger didn't bite. 1-2.
Just off the plate away. Yeah, you think about that at bat by Scherzer. Pitchers never see breaking balls. They take batting practice against usually the pitching coach or one of the coaches on the staff or the bullpen catcher, and they see nothing but straight fastballs.
He did not go, Joe West.
If there's one pitch they're going to hit, it's something that's relatively straight.
Well, that's what he got.
Yep. Well, the look here is,
no.
Out there a little further than I thought.
The Cowboys said no. 2-2 on Anthony Rendon. Still not there with that fastball up and away, and the count is full. Danny Espinosa on deck.
You see everything middle of the plate away to Anthony Rendon, which I think is the right way to pitch him. He has shown me he is really quick, much like Yasmani Tomas, from the middle of the plate in.
Rendon is a good hitter. He's got 5 hits in the series. He's hit safely in 7 straight games. 2 outs, 3 balls, 2 strikes. There goes Murphy from first, and that's ball 4. So the infield single by Murphy, the walk to Rendon, puts 2 on with 2 out for Danny Espinosa. Here comes Mike Butcher.
I mentioned there were some other this day in baseball histories that I thought were of interest. The Upton brothers each hit their 100th career home run on this day, just an hour apart.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was only like 2 years ago, I think, right?
Yeah, when was that? Let me look it up.
Today was also Joe Niekro and the Emery Board Day.
Right, yeah.
That's a personal favorite.
Yeah, the Uptons were in 2012.
Oh, that was a while ago then. I remember when they went out to check Joe Niekro out on the mound, and he emptied his pockets, and as he pulled his hand out of his pocket, he had an Emery board in there, just kind of tossed it behind him, hoping nobody would notice.
Whoops.
How did that get in there? Espinosa singled and scored in the 6th. He's 1 for 4 today. Jake Barrett has to get this out. Murphy's at second, Rendon's at first. Melanson ready in the Nationals bullpen. He'll work the 9th. Zoom ball almost got behind Castillo. Jake's worked himself into a pickle right here.
I mentioned a week or so ago that catchers' left shoulders really take a beating, and that's one of the pitches that'll do it to you. Reaching up and back off to the side there puts a lot of pressure on that shoulder joint.
Settle down.
Yeah, take it easy. Check the runner at second.
Espinosa drives that one to right. A ground rule double. Diamondbacks catch a break there as Rendon will have to stop at third, but Murphy scores to make it a 5-3 ball game. 3 consecutive have reached against Jake Barrett, all with 2 outs.
Second baseman Wilmer Depot.
Up and out over the plate, actually out near the outside corner, but Espinosa gets out there and hooks it on a line back to right field. That is a break for the D-backs. That ball bouncing up and over. Saved a run for the time being.
First base open. He'll walk Defoe to set up the force everywhere and work to Pedro Severino, the catcher.
Another 2-out run for the Washington Nationals.
So a run is in, the bases are loaded, still 2 outs as 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive have reached, and here's the catcher Severino. He has singled twice and been hit by a pitch. Just his 3rd big league game this year.
At the plate, catcher Pedro Severino.
Pitcher spot is up next for the Nationals. Clint Robinson has come out of the on-deck circle. Barrett still trying to get out of this 9th. Just not throwing that fastball for strikes. 1-0.
Nationals are 3 for 5 in this series with the bases loaded.
Mentioned that Washington had a 6-game lead over the Marlins atop the National League East at the start of play today. Marlins lost to the Cubs 5-4 at Wrigley Field on a walk-off wild pitch. So Dusty Baker's Nationals can pick up a game on Miami, take a 7-game lead in their division. Barrett behind 2-0. In the meantime, the Brewers, who come in here Friday for the first of 3. They're playing at San Diego right now. The Padres are beating them up. It's 11-0 San Diego. They lead Milwaukee. Chase Anderson on the mound for the Brewers here Friday night against Braden Shipley. Only 2 other games in progress right now across the major leagues. The 2-1 to Pedro Severino is high and is 3-1.
Boy, really having trouble commanding that fastball today. Leaving a lot of them up.
One run already in. And now he's walked in a run. It's a 6-3 ball game. And that's going to be it for Chip Hale as 5 straight Nationals reach against Jake Barrett, all with 2 outs. He threw 30 pitches in the inning, did have 1 intentional walk in there. But this one gets away from Barrett in the 9th. Back after this. Final out in the top of the 9th inning. It'll be Evan Marshall. 13 appearances and 8.36 ERA. Evan pitched Sunday at Dodger Stadium. And it was a bit of a rough go. He faced 6 batters, gave up 2 doubles and a home run. His first big league experience since May 26th after an extended stay with AAA Reno. He inherits a bases loaded 2-out mess, and Clint Robinson will hit for Max Scherzer. Going to sneak through into center. Espinosa scores. Defoe right behind. And it's 8-3 Nationals.
Poor Hopper right up the middle of the field. Playing Robinson to pull that ball on the right side of the infield, and he found that gap up the middle.
Center fielder Trey Turner.
Trey Turner now, 9th man to bat in the Nationals' 9th.
The 10th time in 3 days that Diamondbacks have allowed 3 or more runs in an inning.
They have never in their history, the Diamondbacks, given up 10 or more runs in 4 consecutive games, but they're in danger of doing that right here. Oh, 0-2 on Trey Turner. He homered in the 3rd. Six in a row have reached for Washington, all with 2 outs. Marshall ahead 1-2. And Revere, who led off this inning, is on deck for the Nationals. And is down the right field line and just foul.
Just a footnote on that story about the Upton brothers both hitting their 100th homer on the same day, an hour apart. They hit their 99th homer on the same day as well.
Brandon Drury. Well, the Nationals send 9 to the plate in the 9th. 4 score. They lead at 8-3. Chaz Roberts air conditioning, cool play of the game. Jake Lamb in the 6th inning, his 23rd home run of the year and his 2nd in as many games.
It'd be nice to see Jake go on a home run tear again. As we mentioned earlier, Yasmani Tomas red hot at the plate with the long ball right now. If you get Jake Lamb going, Goldie shortly thereafter, get that offense cranked up.
Well, the Nationals went out over the weekend just before the trade deadline and got themselves a new closer. They acquired Mark Melancon from the Pittsburgh Pirates, but so far Melancon has pitched twice. One time it was 14-1 and now it's 8-3. So did they really need a closer?
And I think it's worth noting that Jonathan Papelbon, infamous for that choking incident with Bryce Harper in the dugout last year, kind of signed off on this deal. He understood that he wasn't throwing the ball as well as the Nationals needed at the tail end of the ball game. So when Melancon came over, he grudgingly, I'm sure, agreed to move back a slot in that bullpen and become the 8th inning guy.
So Melanson getting some work. Nationals have a number of off days coming up, as Bob mentioned earlier in this series. So no concern about wearing him out here. Want to get him used to his new environment. 3, 4, and 5 in the Arizona 9th inning. Lamb, Goldschmidt, and Peralta. Dusty Baker's team looking for the 3-game sweep. And a chance to go up 7 games atop the National League East. Jake, with that home run, has now hit safely in 5 of his last 6. Home runs today from Lamb and Tomas. 0-2. Diamondbacks, if this score holds up, will be 21 games under 500 here at Chase Field this year. Fights that one off. Defoe has it from the outfield grass, and he throws it out, 1 down. That'll bring up Paul Goldschmidt.
First baseman, Paul Goldschmidt.
You mentioned the 2 situations that Melanson has come into in this series, and you know, there's something to gain from it if you're Mark Melanson. He threw to Wilson Ramos the other day in that 14-1 ball game, and now throwing to Severino, the other catcher. You get used to the signs, how they like to give signs, the pacing back there behind the plate. You can see on that first delivery to Goldie, Severino was going through the signs a little too quickly. I think Melanson wanted to throw the cutter away on the first pitch, but Severino quickly went to the next pitch and the next pitch, and eventually had to come back to the cutter away. Get used to the timing of your pitchers out there on the mound too. Some guys see the sign they want and immediately go into their delivery. Other guys want to stand there and stare for a minute.
How long does it generally take to pick that up for the 2 guys?
Usually not too long in game action, and of course it's something that you can simulate in a bullpen session on the side. You know, get the catcher back there and have him go through signs and have the pitcher shake off or shake his head yes, as he will in a game. But usually it's better to have it actually happen out on the field during a game.
There is no substitute for game experience, it seems.
Melanson basically a 2-pitch guy, a cut fastball and a curveball, but he will throw that cutter on both sides of the plate.
Goldie reaches out, hits a tap, and Murphy backhands. Melanson covers, 2 outs. It's up to David Peralta.
Right fielder, David Peralta.
David doubled and scored in the 5th. He's 1 for 3 today. Diamondback Live post-game show. Joe Borowski standing by with Todd Walsh as soon as our ball game is done here. A day off tomorrow, and then the Brewers are in for the first of 3 starting Friday night. Don't forget, fans, Saturday, Zach Greinke bobblehead day here at the ballpark, a 5:10 start. That one is a fair ball down the left field line, and the freight train is on the tracks. His second double today, 2 for 4.
down by 5. We can't be quite as enthusiastic. So,
well, it all started for Washington in this inning with 2 outs.
Both David's doubles in this game have come to the opposite field. Let that ball really get deep. You could see only the one defender on the left side. Rendon couldn't get to it. David in with his second double of the game.
Yasmani Tomas. 1 for 3. A home run his last time up. His 19th of the year after he homered here last night. Yasmani over his last 15 games, 6 doubles, 6 home runs, and 12 RBIs. This is what it looked like with 1 out in the 7th. Hanging nothing ball for Max Scherzer.
I said it at the time, that's what you're supposed to do with that pitch. So many times you see that hanging breaking ball and you try to hit it 450 feet and you end up popping it up the left side of the infield. But Yasmani stayed on that one nicely. Drove it out of here to left field.
One and 2. That kicks away from Severino. Peralta moves up.
It's the second time in this game that Severino has blocked a ball in the dirt, but hit his chest protector and just shot over toward that third base on deck circle.
He does a nice job back there. You can see why they like him so much defensively. 2 and 2 on Yasmani Tomas. Able to check his swing. He didn't go, says Joe West, and it's a full count 3 and 2. Brandon Drury would be next. Well, Yasmani has been ahead in counts more often in the last week or so than we've seen him in 2 years. Melanson gets the strikeout, and the Nationals get the sweep. They out-hit the Diamondbacks 14-5, and they win it 8-3, your final score. So the Diamondbacks in their last 4 games have been outscored 46-11. And they have lost 25 of their last 32.
Certainly a lot of that has to do with the inexperienced Diamondbacks pitching staff, but you really have to tip your cap to this Washington team. They were relentless offensively in this series, 1 through 8 in the lineup. 18 of the 32 runs that the Nationals scored came with 2 outs.
Well, the Diamondbacks had now been swept at home 6 times this season, and they dropped to 21 games under 500 here at Chase Field. Joe Borowski standing by to break it down for you. He's with Todd Walsh on Diamondbacks Live postgame. Todd.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Joe, you know what? We know that this month and the rest of the season providing a great opportunity for the Diamondbacks bullpen. And this is an opportunity that Jake Parrott let get away, clearly. They had a one-run game going into the 9th inning with the Hardy order coming up in the bottom of the 9th. He's got to find a way to get out of that inning, doesn't he?
Absolutely. And another breakdown by the bullpen, Lee. And they're going to have to find a way to find somebody who's going to go out there and throw up donuts. You can't consistently bring in your bullpen and let either close games or leads get away.
All right. We have lots to talk about here on Diamondbacks Live, the post-game show. So our coverage will continue. When we come back, we'll get to Bob Brenly. Kate Longworth is down at field level and into the Diamondbacks clubhouse, and we'll hear from skipper Chip Hale. And I wonder if anyone will ask Chip about Country Joe West and that check swing that he didn't give Jake Parrott in the 9th inning that may have ended that inning well before the Washington Nationals blew it open. We'll find out together when we come back here to Chase Field. Diamondbacks Live around the corner. We'll be back in just a moment.